Now, most gyms have got BOSU boards like this. BOSU stands for both sides up. This way round we refer to as dome side up. The other way around is flat side up. So when we've written down your exercises, we've probably written DSU for dome side up and FSU for flat side up. We're going to look at some exercises on the dome side up first of all. Again, be careful with your gym that the gym people haven't overinflated the dome. If this is really, really tense when you stand on it, it's no challenge at all to your balance. So you can see how squidgy this one is here, and that's how they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be a challenge to your balance, and there won't be a challenge to the balance if they're just super tense. So they're not supposed to be filled up with air like the physio balls are, where they're solid. They're supposed to be squidgy. Now I place my heels, and I'll show this side on, so you can see the crest of the dome at the top there. I want my heels on top of that crest, like so. I don't want my heels off the back edge, like this, where I could fall backwards and feel unstable. If you're going to topple, as probably will happen with me as well, you want to just feel you can just fall forwards and step off in that direction rather than falling backwards. Now we're going to look at the squat first of all. So I'm putting my feet, as we just said, heels on the crest of the dome, but also still shoulder width apart. And now I'm going to just do a squat. Now this will highlight whether you're favouring one side more than the other. So if you've had an injury to one side, you may not be aware of it too much until you do this, that you're putting a lot of weight through the good side. So what we're looking for is this symmetrical, equal distribution of weight as we go down through both knees into a deep squat, and then push back up to a fully straight knee. Now obviously you can imagine if this was a little bit vulnerable on one side, you'd probably end up loading heavily towards the other side, and that would be very apparent to you to do that. From the side, the exercise will look like this. So again, I don't worry about keeping my back straight. It's an interesting point that this idea of squatting and keeping your back straight does not reduce the risk of a back injury. It's more likely to make your back sore by compressing the back too much. There's no harm at all in letting your back round in this way and flex. That's what the back is designed to do. So if you've been told to keep the back fully straight, it's actually not correct, because most people's idea of fully straight is locking the back out like this, shoving the bum out, and this creates a lot of compression here. A lot of people that I come across benefit greatly from just letting the back bend, sitting down fully, and then straightening up. Now you can add further challenge to this exercise by holding a medicine ball or holding dumbbells, and all those will be challenging in their own way. Now we can move on to a lateral movement challenge on the BOSU. So I'm going to put all my weight now through the right side. The right knee is slightly bent, and I'm going to push off the right side and replace it with the left leg. Now the left side, you can see here, is just acting as a bit of a stabiliser, just touching the side of the dome. So I push off from the right, land on the left, and now the right one comes into play as a stabiliser here. So all my weight is now on this side. So as we push off, I'll land on this one, transfer my weight onto that one. There. Now obviously the progression of that will be to not use the outside leg, which is particularly difficult. So we'll have a go, and it's on the left side here, not using the right leg, and then pushing off and controlling it on the right side here. Fighting the balance. Push off, land on the left. Now the key to this one is to stay on the outer border of your foot. And the idea is to challenge yourself to stay on this one side and balance for a little while. Not just to keep hopping from one to the other. The idea is to show that you have the capability to control it and to balance. Like so. Now we've turned the BOSU over, so we're working on it now as we call it flat side up. Now again, if the gym has pumped your BOSU up too high, it's a different challenge now in that it will be very dangerous, because as you step on the side of it, if it was higher than this, it would be at an angle like this. It would be very easy to go over on your ankle and damage yourself. So there is a little sort of centerpiece here, which if you lift that out with a key, you can let the air out and then put it back in. and that should be to get it to this sort of position so it's not that far off the floor, reducing the risk of injury. Now you'll see I'm going to put my good leg on first, and I'm not putting it right to the edge, I'm putting it inside these little rivet things that are on the side here, so my outside of my foot just goes inside those. I get pressure on it so that the outer rim of the BOSU is on the floor. Now I can safely stand on it like that and decide where I want to put this left side. Now again, my heels are very much centred across the middle of the BOSU and my feet are very much more forwards. I want the front rim of the BOSU to be closer to the ground. I don't want to be going back into this position. This hyperextended position of the knee is not comfortable and not particularly pleasant, so we'd rather be in this orientation, have my arms forwards to help with that balance, and then go back into the squat. So we did the squat on the dome before, now we're doing the squat flat side up in this position. Okay, that's quite an easy exercise to do for most people, less challenging perhaps than when we do it on the dome. But the real challenging exercise this way around is to do a single leg squat. And for that we put the foot right down the centre. Again, my heel is very much over the rivet in the middle where the air goes in. And now we've got to show that we've got good stability on the single leg side. So like we've done with some of the other exercises, the hips, when you're on a single leg, need to be over to the weight bearing side, not in this sort of position with the shoulders leaning and the pelvis going to the wrong side. You can see how unstable I look when that happens. Get my hips across, pelvis over to the right as I'm on the right foot, and now I look like I've got a lot more stability. Now we're going to do a single leg squat. So I'm bending the knee, bending the trunk, squatting down, touch the rim, and then push back up to a straight leg with control. Slowly down, touch, and back up again. Now we can involve rotation with this at some stage, maybe holding a medicine ball, twisting to the side here, and then driving that medicine ball up and out to here, which you can see is actually a lot more challenging once you start to involve a twist. But don't fear the wobble, work with it, fight it, try and bring it under control, and reach in this way. Now back to the dome side up on the BOSU, a little bit more dynamic exercise now, hopping from the ground to the BOSU, landing on the dome with just one foot. So I'm going to land again, starting with my good leg landing on the challenging surface, and then we go the other way around once I've orientated myself to the exercise. So I'm on. Again, the weight bearing surface of the foot is going to be the outer border of the foot, and then I can hop back off and try and balance on that less good ankle on the floor. So once I've got the control, back on again, fight the control, knee always slightly bent when we land, hop off, and again, set the landing, no little hops if we can help it, back on again, like so. Go to the other side, start on my right side now on the floor. This is going to be more challenging because my weaker ankle is landing on the dome, and I've got to work a fair bit harder there to stabilise. So I don't want to hop straight off, I want to make myself bring this balance under control, and everything's working here to stabilise. A lot easier to land on the right leg on the floor than it was on the left. Work really hard there, and you can feel everything from your abdomen, your hips, your glutes, your shoulders, everything's having to work to win that one, and then you're ready to hop off again.